Hello and welcome back to the House from Hell. You might have seen this featured on another video. We're here to go in depth today on these. These are the new MK base range of accessories. So I'm going to give you a little tour of this room that I'm busy second fixing now, show you how I do my second fix, show you all the special features of these accessories which look really cool. I've never tried them before though, so I'll give them a go and give you my honest opinion about them. If you like the look of these, we're going to be doing a giveaway, so make sure you stay to the end of the video because we're going to be giving away massive bundles of MK base accessories to one of you guys who watches our channel, so look forward to that and stay tuned to the end of the video to see how you can win. Smash a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, let's get into it. So MK have sent us this huge bundle of goodies for us to try out, which is quite exciting. I always like trying out new products. And the ones that we're going to specifically be featuring today, because they're the ones that we need here, are these USB double sockets. Really interested to see how we get on with those. And we're going to also be featuring the 2-gang switch. There we go, yeah. So I'm going to be featuring this. 2-gang particularly looks interesting. And we're going to be featuring the switch fuse connection units as well, which are here. Because we've got some switch fuse connection units to install for various appliances in this kitchen that we're working in. Let me open them out of the bag, stick them on the worktop, and I'll talk to you about some of the features and we'll get a feel for them. And then we'll put them on and see what they're like to install. So this is the proper building site. We don't work in places like this very often because we don't do many renovations or rebuild houses. For a lot of our viewers, I know that this is your environment where you feel most comfortable in a good old building site with muck everywhere. We're going to look at these, right? And what I want to think about is the quality, and I also want to think about the ease of install. As you guys know from watching the channel for a number of years now, we use MK accessories in general as our go-to. So we've always used MK. I've always liked the quality of the MK accessories. That's the brand that we use as our go-to normally. A lot of electricians find that that's a little bit above their budget, so they go with maybe a sort of a cheaper brand of accessory that still works for them. And this is kind of what MK have cleverly done now in releasing their MK base range. These are actually really good value, but they're also packed with really interesting features and they look good as well. So they kind of tick all the boxes, supposedly. We'll know when we start to install them. But one of the highlights about these, which I've never seen before, and it's why we're installing them here at this HMO. The actual plastic that they're made of, it's called like urea blah blah blah, something very complicated which I'm not going to try and repeat. Right guys, I made a mistake. The sockets are not coated with some kind of special coating, which is what I thought. They're actually made of a special material called urea formaldehyde. And that is the plastic that they're made of basically, which has inherent antibacterial, antiviral properties. Now that's something that's totally new for me, but I find that fascinating. And when they've done tests on these sockets, they found that it kills over 99% of bacteria and viruses, which is awesome. Now they've all been tested to international ISO standards. So I hope that clears it up for you, and let's get back to the video. In a HMO where you've got, say, 8 different people living in there, all coming in and switching the switches on and off, touching them. You know, we've become really conscious of touch points and stuff during the pandemic, haven't we? And little things that you probably never would have worried about before, now people worry about them. So having these, and from a landlord's point of view, being able to reassure your tenants that all of your sockets and switches are antimicrobial or antibacterial, that's a good selling point, right? For a HMO, it's just an ideal situation to fit stuff like this. So I get it. I really think it's very clever what they've done to include that for certain environments like rental properties, but also other environments like hotels, hospitals, shops. This is really going to be a game changer, I think. Pretty cool. But the question is, do they live up to the normal MK quality standard? Because you know me, I always shy away from things that are a little bit cheap and cheerful. I always go for premium if I can when it comes to materials. So I want to know whether these will stand up to the Artisan quality standards. We've got here a double socket and a switch fuse connection unit. So we're going to swap those over with these two. These sockets have got USB outlets, which is really good. And another feature of these sockets, which also is one reason why I've always used MK sockets in general, is they've got double pole switches on the sockets. That means it isolates the line and the neutral conductor, which is really handy if you're doing testing, because you can go around and just turn all the switches off rather than having to unplug everything, and it will completely isolate both poles so that the appliance, you're not going to get any readings from the appliance when you do insulation testing and things like that. So another good little perk. Let's just dive in now. I've got to do safe isolation on this first, so we'll do that just to make sure it's all dead and safe to work on before I start taking the covers off. So let's do our safe isolation procedure. So we'll test our tester, and then we'll test that it's dead, which it is. Then we'll test our tester again. We've locked it off at the other end, so we know that it's safe to work on, and we can just crack on and change this socket over. Okay, so this is slightly annoying. Basically they put a shallow box in here for some reason, I don't know why. And this is a spur off the ring that they've used to run an outside socket, but they've wired it in 1.5. I'm not too fussed about that because it's going to be on a 13 amp fuse anyway. It's fine, I'll let it slide, but it's just going to be a bit tight getting the wires in the back double over the conductors. If you've got enough length, it's always good to do that. They come with these screws, the normal type of socket screws, but you get the little caps on them, which you don't get with the normal MK line. For me, the caps in general are always one of those things that kind of annoy me a little bit, because if you ever need to take the socket face off afterwards, you've got to try and get them out. But somebody shared a little very cool little tip about this, I think it was eFix. They said if you get blue tack, you can just dab the blue tack onto it and then pull it off, and it sticks onto this and it pulls it out. Because in the past I've always, to be honest, just levered them out with screwdrivers, and you sometimes end up nicking them or damaging them a bit, and then you just have to throw them away. It's one of those things that just makes it look slightly better aesthetically. What I like about these sockets so far is that the terminals are quite spacious, so you can easily fit 3 conductors in there, which is nice. So that's that. I'll push this back now. It's always a bit tight for space with USB sockets as well, but these ones are quite shallow, so actually that fits back in a normal 25mm deep box without any problems, so that's a good sign. Now, Ruben mentioned it in a video the other day, but I've not talked about it for a while, is that I have a little bit of an OCD thing about the screws in the sockets, that they should all go vertical. Some people prefer them horizontal. Let me know in the comments what your preference is, but I just think it's nice to have them all the same. And it's also kind of tamper-proof then, because if they're out of line, you know that somebody's been messing around with them, because you wouldn't have left them like that. Another thing that triggers my OCD a little bit here, which there's not a lot we can do about, is the fact that the boxes that they've put in originally, because we've not put these in, they're not actually properly lined up. So you can see that the sockets are not perfectly aligned, which really bugs me. It's just the way that it was installed first of all, and as I said, in this property, unfortunately, we've not done a rewire. It could have done with a rewire really, but we didn't have that option, so we're just kind of making the best of what's here already. But I think that that looks much better than the previous hideous sockets that were in place there. This is a switch for the outside socket. Now I've put this on a switch fuse connection unit now, so that it's protected by a 13 amp fuse, because it was only wired in 1.5mm twin and earth, so that's much better now. We've got USB outlets as well, double socket, switch fuse connection unit, all good. So far, super impressed with the quality. I'd say it's no way inferior to the premium line MK ones that we usually use. They probably don't look quite as nice as the premium line, They're more of a white finish rather than a creamy finish, but actually I quite like that. It looks really clean and slick, so yeah, overall very impressed. Let me try now this double switch, this 2-gang switch, and see how we get on with that. So this is an interesting one actually, because I fitted this switch a little while ago, and this is the MK switch, which we usually use, so I can show you a side-by-side comparison compared to the basic one. And yeah, obviously there's slight differences, but I don't see the basic as anywhere inferior really. Slightly different colour. The switches, the action on them feels good on both of them. Obviously you've got the square edges on this instead of the rounded edges. The switches on this are slightly bigger, which I actually quite like, because I think it's just easier to dab onto them. But I'm going to swap it over and we'll see the difference with the connections as well on the back. They are substantially different. If you have a look at those two, you'll see that there is a significant difference between those. So we'll swap the switch over and see how we get on. So this is what we call a 2-gang, 2-way switch. And just for those of you who are learners out there and maybe you don't understand what's the difference between gangs and ways, gangs are not the kind of things that you get in mafia movies. The number of gangs is actually the number of switches. This is 2-gang because we've got 2 switches. The number of ways is how many switches there are that can control one light. So if it's 2-way, that means there's 2 switches to control one light. If it's 1-way, that means there's only 1 switch to control 1 light. And you also get 2-way and intermediate, where you have a 2-way switch at either end, and then you can have an unlimited number of intermediate switches in between, which you get in some situations, like maybe a long corridor in a hotel where you've got multiple switches to control the corridor lights, things like that. You would use 2-way and intermediate switching. Or maybe we've got several floors in a house and you've got a 2-way switch at the bottom, intermediate switch on the first floor, and a 2-way switch on the second floor, so that you can control those lights from all 3 floors. Right, so I've got the switch on, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts about it in a second. You might be quite surprised. But I'm going to turn the circuit back on first and just make sure it works properly before I put these little things in. So, 1 light, another light. Brilliant. Final little tightening up on the screws once it's level, just to make sure that it's okay. Yeah, I'm not going to tighten that one anymore. And then we'll just pop these in, see what it looks like. And it does look neater with them, so why not? My thoughts about these, especially the switches, are I'm super impressed. So, overall, what are my first impressions of the MK base range? Absolutely love it, actually. Really, really nice. Because I was a little bit worried about the quality because of the price and the fact that it's marketed as like a basic kind of range, but actually it's basic on price, but it's not really basic on quality. It looks good, it's super easy to install, and it feels like it's good quality, which you would expect from MK because they are a kind of quality brand. But how do you know that they're going to be good quality? That's the question, because it's always a little bit scary. I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit scared sometimes changing my go-to brand with anything, whether it's like consumer units or accessories or light fittings, because you think, what if I start fitting loads of these and then something goes wrong? That's where MK really shines, because all of these accessories have a 20-year warranty on them. Like, just pause for a second and let that sink in. That is amazing. And for me, that just inspires confidence in MK, because they are saying to all their customers right there, we believe in the quality of our products. So much so that if anything goes wrong, within 20 years, we'll replace it for free. Well, if that doesn't inspire confidence in a product, what does? So for me, it's kind of a no-brainer because of the extra features, which is all the antibacterial, antimicrobial stuff, because they're easy to install, they're cheaper. There's kind of so many boxes that are ticked really by these accessories. So massive thanks to MK for sponsoring this video. So now it's time for an epic giveaway. 3 bundles of £250 worth of MK base accessories. How can you be in a chance to win? Well, there's a link in the description where you can go through and participate in the giveaway along with all the terms and conditions there. And 3 of you will be in a chance to have a massive bundle of products arriving at your door very soon. So head to that link in the description and join up on the giveaway. Also, if you'd like to find out more information about the MK Base range, they have an amazing catalogue which is available online. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. And also, check out their website, the MK Base range website. It's really interesting and you can see more about the product features and everything that's involved. If you've enjoyed this video, if it's been of benefit to you in any way, it really helps us if you hit a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, why not seriously consider doing so? Because we post regular videos all about the life of an electrician, intriguing and interesting products, all the kind of stuff that might be of interest to you. And if you are a subscriber but you haven't hit the notification bell yet, please do so. When you tap that notification bell, it really helps our channel to grow, because what happens is you'll get notified every time we post a new video, and that's cool because then you'll be one of the first ones to watch our new videos. And either way, we really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching and have a great day.